Yeah, have you ever watched X Factor when people that over 40s always come and they go, "What happened? You sound amazing," and they go, "I had kids." I never ever want my kids to feel like they were the reason I didn't make it. Because I think it might not bother them now, but when I'm like 75 or whatever, it will bother them that they were the reasons that I never got to fulfill my purpose. And I think it's really lazy of me to say they came along, so therefore I didn't make it. I think you just push harder, like, right? And just never make them feel like they were a burden.
Martins. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Persian princess, or should I say a Persian queen, in the studio today to talk about her wonderful journey through the beautiful, beautiful landscapes of music. A woman that has 10 million streams out there and has worked with, or her music has been with 53,000 producers, but somebody you still cannot find. But we're going to find her today, ladies and gentlemen. In the studio, we have the one, the amazing, also performing at the Korak Live Music Award, August 28th, Aiva Sarah. Yeah.
Thank you. That was nice.
What do you mean it was nice? That was like amazing. That's like a proper. That is
good.
better than your resume. That is better than your resume. Imagine your resume with a classic voice. That is it right there. How are you? Thank you for being on Korak.
Thank you.
Good,
Thanks for
good,
having
good.
me.
Of course, anytime. I told our last guest that because you're the superstar, when I say thank you for being on Korak, just go, you're welcome. Give a bit of sass. Let the other person feel like, yeah, you're worth being here. So let's try it again. Let's try it again. Thank you for being on Korak.
Yeah.
No, not yeah, you're welcome. That's what you're supposed to say. Anyways, let us get into it. First of all, big shout out to the podcast rooms, of course, Adam and
100%.
production crew, and such a wonderful place. And we are going to understand the ups and downs, as Korak means footsteps. It's understanding each step that you're taking to get to where you might deem as success destination. So we start the podcast in the usual way. In your music world and doing what you're doing and trying to establish yourself, take us back to that first step. What's that first step you took in believing that you can actually be in the music world?
The first ever thing I did, well, I used to write songs and poems, and I was like from probably 5 or 6, and used to bore everybody with it. But I guess the first step was when I went for an audition for singing right before my degree started. And I think that's the time where I thought, oh, maybe I want to do this.
By degree, you mean like what, university degree? Okay.
Yeah. I did biomedical sciences at uni, but kind of like a week before I was starting, I went to this audition. I got the audition, and it was like for this like management company, and then I was like too scared. I was like, oh, I'm gonna need my backup. I
You were
had
too scared to do the audition, or you were too scared when you got the part?
well, yeah, when they said yes to me, but then I was like,
Oh my God, this is
I'm like
happening.
18. Yeah, like what if this doesn't work? I have like really supportive parents. They're always like, do your thing, at that time. But I was like this like really good child, I'd say. And I was like, let me go and get my degree. And I think that's the turning point that if I was to go back, I would probably change, because I think
Well, you change it in the sense that you wouldn't get your degree, or you just be a bit more confident and chase.
I think I just wouldn't do plan B first. I think that's always a bad idea.
So university degree was plan B.
100%. Yeah, it was my backup, but I kind of was like, let me do the backup just in case.
Well, if you're living the dream, so when you talk about that little girl at 5 that was writing poems and boring people, according to you, not me, according to you, boring people with that, was the dream alive then, as far back as you remember? Did you think one day I actually want to sing, I actually want to perform, or was it something as how people get like validation from friends, or people go, "Oh my God, you sound amazing," and I'm not talking about your friends in the pub or somebody that just says, "Oh yeah, you sound okay." But what in between? Because when you go from 5 to what 18, that's what 13 years. In that 13-year period, what led you to believe singing can be plan A?
I don't know. I think for me, it was such an escape. So I'm Persian. When we moved here, I didn't even speak English. So
How
for
old are
me,
you?
it was 8. So for me, the only thing that kind of carried forward in that felt familiar that I wanted to do was just write lyrics, write poems. And I think that's what I used to do. So even when I went to like secondary school, I used to like just lunchtimes go into the music rooms where it was just a piano and me, and we just lock myself in there, and that's what I would do. It was such a massive culture shock. It was such a like different vibe here, and as much as I loved it, I needed that escape, like something that I still recognize. Um,
So
and
were
it
you
was
singing in Persian at the time?
no. Well, in secondary school, I could speak by then. So I used to kind of started writing in English. But the poems, like originally, yeah, they were in Persian.
Sorry, I mean, help me out here. My geography and language skills is terrible. What's the language you speak?
Farsi,
Farsi. Okay, and then you moved from where exactly?
Iran.
Oh,
So
oh,
it's like,
hello. Nice place, that. Iran.
yeah.
So I hear. Good holiday spot.
See,
Good holiday spot.
I don't know about it is a beautiful place, and it's got its dramas and like
Like everywhere else.
everywhere else, yeah. But I do miss it, and of course I'd love to like go back. It's definitely where the heart is a lot of the time. But I mean, now I don't recognize that person. Like now I've just fully, obviously, just grown up here, and everything feels very natural to me now. But for a long time, that was my like escape.
So it's funny how a lot of people talk about music being their escape. It takes them to a different kind of world. It's all the make believe stuff. And what were you writing about? So what were you singing about then, or were you just singing songs that you knew?
What was I right? Like, so the poetry stuff was all just very life stuff. So like new environments, new friends. I was very young, very innocent. I wasn't writing
I don't know.
R&B.
I don't know.
I wasn't
I
writing
don't know.
R&B.
Are you trying to say? Are you trying to say R&B is not innocent?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just checking. Just checking. So you were very innocent. So you were talking about innocent
At
stuff.
the time, yeah.
Okay. Oh, so you're not innocent anymore?
I mean, I don't know, but anyway.
I know you're not. I've listened to that music, man. There's no way you're innocent. But anyway,
It's just
we'll
a
see.
market, right? But anyway, so at the time it was different. But yes, I wasn't writing about relationships or anything like that. It was all just very much like experiences and family and friends and things like that.
Are you the only child?
No, I'm the middle child.
Middle child out of.
Always a problematic one.
Oh yeah, cause nobody's favorite. Mommy likes somebody else, daddy likes somebody else. You're pretty much just you're like the accountant. They just pass stuff through you. So middle child. So you and there's what, boy up top, girl below.
The other way around, yeah. So I've got an
okay.
older sister and a younger brother. I would say I'm like probably try to always be the glue, being in the middle.
Yeah, middle children are always like a bridge sometimes. I'm the last child, so it's
You're the spoiled one.
No. Well, technically, compared to my brother and sister, I was definitely very spoiled. But I have African parents. I don't know about spoiling. I don't know about spoiling in that household. You'll be told a few things. Comparatively, yes, I was spoiled compared to the other two. But with one of the things that I've said this like a million times, my love for music and the different respect for different genres comes from my parents. Listen to different music at different times. There's one for church. There's one for just different stuff. And when I think about it now, the array of music, my parents, they like what they like, and one person likes something else, one person, but you grow up with all that feel. It always interests me when people go, "Oh, I've always been writing this." What was, as far back as you remember, were your parents musical? Was it something that you just, came out of the womb and like, oh yeah, I'm going to start singing?
No, it was my dad. My dad was a really amazing piano player, and he used to write music for TV and films and stuff like
Nice.
that. So I always watched him. I think my earliest memory of the piano is actually if you ever like lower than the piano and you look up at it, when the white keys
Yeah.
just move. That was like, I used to love watching him do that. So I could just watch him play because he plays really well. And he used to like write music, and he had like scores everywhere and things like that. And I think just growing up, that was like, it was really nice. And whenever we hosted, he used to always play for the guests, and my mom used to always sing, and he used to write his own stuff.
This sounds like one of them things you see in the movies.
It was
Hosted,
really
somebody
cute.
played
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Somebody. So, did you ever sing for any of the guests?
No, I was quite shy actually.
Oh yeah, back then you were innocent.
Yeah. I was quite. You
As
have
you
to
said,
pick up on that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was quite shy. But I used to love watching them as a couple. I used to feel like they're like power couple, the fact that they can do that together. And
The Jay-Z and Beyonce of Iran.
I mean,
I like it.
I mean,
Mm,
yeah, but
I'm
they used
assuming
to express themselves.
I'm assuming Daddy's a bit more handsome than Jay-Z. I'm just I definitely hope so.
I would agree.
Yeah, it's 100%. So do you play any instruments? It's did you pick up with learning any other instruments, or you just decided singing is my thing now? Don't really care about instruments.
I used to play piano, and it used to really help me write songs. Um, but then, um, how do I kind of not say too much, but say too much? So basically, then when I met my producer, and plays a lot of piano, I kind of got lazier and lazier, and I think I've probably not touched the piano now in
So pretty much concentrating
a
on
lot of years.
your strengths and trying to put that in your music.
Yeah.
Wait, in the third, so you moved here when you were 8, and in between that period, when you finally got past culture shock, when you finally decided this was home, what was music like then? How did you start discovering your sound and what you felt that you wanted to use to be, or the genre you wanted to lean towards? How did you discover that?
So I went to school in Finsbury Park.
What a great place! It's amazing.
It's a good place.
Yeah, it
Very
is. Not
lively.
London. It's the way forward.
But it was all very R&B and hip hop
Hmm.
around me all the time. So I always say this, but like just going home, like we just smelled like home, like just the streets and everything. And I was very much like,
Did you just say weed smelled like
it
home?
did, because like
Okay. So
honestly, like
everybody
going
was in
up
a
the
natural
flats and
high
like
around the.
yeah, it was just part of like, it was just somebody would be rapping in the corner, or like you go to school and people would be writing R&B, and it was almost very uncool to listen to anything else. I
Mm.
wasn't very like exposed to anything else other than like R&B and hip hop. I remember like the first time I ran to the shops to buy Cisco's album.
Which one? Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
Damn, yes.
I still know that how like word by word, or like 8701, or like all of these albums from way back when, or I mean 50 came a bit later, but we used to like run to kind of try and get 112 and
Mhm.
things like that. So these are the things where like we were listening to, unfortunately. Um
Unfortunately,
for a
yeah,
lot of my parents'
that was.
lyrics, but
I've always stood by that time of music, especially R&B. That was like
it's
proper
still it's
R&B.
still on my playlist today. Like
I think it's like compared to what we have now. I'm assuming when that when they say everything comes around full circle. I'm assuming that that quality of R&B will probably come back at some
I
point.
hope so.
But because right now I don't know what people are singing,
I
but
know.
that was the time. So that was what you were exposed to,
Yeah.
and so as always, you exposed it. Did you fell straight into that sort of R&B? Did you fall into the weed?
No.
You
No.
sure?
I
Not
was
at
no,
all.
I was a really good girl actually.
Innocent.
I didn't even have my first alcoholic drink until probably 20.
My God.
Yeah,
Did you
so
get?
I was just very good.
You did uni in what, Brighton,
I
right?
did, yeah.
Okay, and you didn't have any alcoholic drink till you were 20. Was that like your graduation drink? Like, I made it. I'm leaving this place.
No, it was a night out. But anyway, I'm not a drinker. I don't do any of these kind of like cool things, but I did love the music, and
Mm.
I loved the culture of it, I would say. So it all just kind of started to feel a lot more like home. Um, but yeah, things like Joe, Table for Two, like I would know these things like off by heart from very, very early on. I remember like the first time my brother ever like saved his pocket money, bless him, when he was really small, and he ran and got me like the Alicia Keys album,
Mm.
or like Craig David's album, and it was just so nice back then because you could open them and touch them, and all the photo, the books you get
Yeah.
inside, and yeah, that was the time where I kind of
So with all that is happening, and of course your dream was the dream is coming. It's like it's big. Like I want to do this. I want to do this. And so because of Finsbury Park, you found your genre of music. You were good to go. So you then decided, because you said music was plan A and university was plan B. In between that period, before you went to university, if music was plan A, why didn't you push for it as hard as you probably did for your degree? Was this because of fear that it wouldn't work, lack of confidence? What exactly stopped you from? Because what I'm trying to understand is, you know how people know they go to university hoping that if anything doesn't work out, that's what I'm gonna do. But then they still push hard and stuff. You got the audition, you were accepted. What then happened after that?
I freaked out. But like the thing is, you got to remember, it was a long time ago. So there's no social media then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was way back when you kind of felt like you had to be discovered. So
So somebody had to like validate that, oh, you're amazing.
People has to come and save the day and give you a chance. And it wasn't like you can just put up covers of yourself or anything like that. It was a very different world. It was like I had to rewind the tape, right? So
With a pen. You flip it. A
yeah.
lot of people won't understand that. It's like this is not
Like, you weren't going to get discovered. I mean, fair enough, like MySpace kind of had just come in first year of uni for me. Like that's the first time I discovered MySpace and High Five and things like that. But it was a different era. It wasn't like you wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna do me and people will follow me or listen or anything like that. You couldn't self-release, as far as I know. You weren't exposed to DistroKid and the Spotify and things like that. It was very much like someone's gonna have to come and save you. And I genuinely, looking back, I didn't feel like that was gonna be me. I kind of compared myself a lot to other people, and I used to kind of feel like I don't see this happening around me. I don't see anyone coming up from Finsbury Park. It wasn't like, it was just a very different era. So um I was always very logical, and I looked at this deal and I was like, it's not a record deal. It's not gonna like do anything. It's just gonna get me starting uni like 1 year later than I would have. And it's like,
Oh, so it would have
you
been
know,
a case that you would have had to like push uni back. And
yeah,
then
of course. Yeah.
okay. So you chose not to, and then you went to study biochemistry. What was life in uni? Were you still doing music, or you just decided, or you put that to the back burner at one point? What was uni like in Brighton? I've heard great things. I feel like I should go back and apply, but I've heard great things.
It
What was
was
uni like?
good. It was a lot of clubbing, music scene. It was a lot of drum and bass,
Mm.
live music, and dubstep and things like that. And I did do that for a while, and it was going well. I used to kind of like sing along on top of DJs on nights out and things like that. It was fun, but it wasn't who I was, but it was just what the scene was.
Okay, so you were going with the scene and the trend at the time.
Yeah, just to kind of get out there. But for
So
me
my
personally, I was just
the
like,
innocence was dying.
no, it was fine. It was
Okay,
fine.
cool.
I I did write a lot of music. And I was definitely trying to find myself. I
But
went to BIM for a while as well.
you could say with the exposure to the different genres of music, it helped you. Probably helped your creativity. Trying to see when you were writing songs, were you still sticking to staying strong to R&B, or you were trying out different things with different genres?
I was writing a lot of R&B that house DJs and stuff were remixing.
Mm.
A lot of drum and bass. I was with this drum and bass band for a little bit. They'll be just in my like little flat in Brighton, and they'll be like smoking and playing guitars and doing their thing, and I'll just put some vocals down. It was very much like grassroots exploration stuff. I went to BIM for a bit, so and I say a bit, for 2 years. So it was like that kind of scene. But yeah, I think I was just exploring. But I did make a call to a producer in London randomly, and I said to him, I never forget this because it was quite a random call. I was just Googling ways of getting out there in London, and he was doing really well. So I called him up and I said, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm only going to get the same results. So I would prefer to do something different. And he was like, okay, well, no one's ever called me saying that before. Do you want to come for an audition? And I was like,
Nice.
yeah,
Another audition. Did the nerves kick in?
yeah, of course.
So you said no to the first audition at 18, studied hard biochemistry, finished university. Now you're thinking, I need to find something different to do. Call out this guy. And then he says the word audition. Bam! Does he take you back to that? Like, oh my God, this is happening again. Or by
No, I
then,
was well up for it.
oh, you are ready this time. I like it. I like it.
It was done. No, I went and I did it, and it was fine, and we were working together for about 3 years. Um, Built up like the first version of an album, I would say, because I still felt like song to song I was becoming a different person. Um, and then yeah, that kind of stopped. So
Kind of stopped. I mean, what kind of Netflix ending is that? That kind of stopped. You just like, all the way, yeah, we're doing this and boom. What happened? They pulled the plug. What kind of, what happened?
well, I was on my way to a radio show, the first ever one I was gonna do. Um, Stopped at Boots and realized I was with child at that point.
Was it because a lot of people, when people talk about the wonderful things that happen in today's world with music, is, as you said, the exposure to being self-made. Well, self-made. I don't believe in the self-made myth, but self-made. You can do things on your own. You can try. You don't need a record label. And then when you think about things back in the day where they wanted musicians to portray themselves in a particular light, is this one of them situations where, oh, you're pregnant now, so you have to take a back seat? Was it one of those?
Um, I think it's hard, right? Because when you're a woman and you are kind of like exposed to this whole new chapter where you have responsibilities, you kind of start looking at things a bit differently as well. So I would never put it on the industry alone,
Hmm.
but it's definitely not something that boosts your career.
It wasn't. There wasn't the right. I don't want to use balance because balance would imply it's 50-50. Let's just say there wasn't the right
Your priorities shift,
priorities. So
right?
your priorities obviously will shift, but because you still have a dream with the music, you're probably thinking, I can kind of make this work.
Yeah, I still kind of really tried to keep going. It wasn't going to be on kind of like the same project because, you know, when energy shifts and priorities shift, music is very like a live thing, it's a very creative thing. You need
Mhm.
everyone to kind of be invested in the same level at the same time for that particular project to work. So I think for me, I had to kind of take a back seat. There was probably about a year of that where I couldn't even listen to music. So if anything came on TV, like people would know to turn it off. I couldn't listen to it. I
Is this
couldn't make
after?
anything.
It is after that
I was
situation
so
ended.
in mum mood. Yeah, I was in such a mum mode, and I was like really like trying my best to just be all into that because that's what baby deserves, like your full attention. Um, and I think probably after a year, I started to learn that I can still be my own person and still be an amazing mom and just try to kind of balance that in a different way. So then I just started booking shows. Obviously, I knew a lot of kind of people that put on shows and things like that around London, and I put together like an 8-piece band, and obviously it helps that my husband's a producer, so it was very much like
I like how you just throw that in there, like you told us before. So he's a producer.
oh, he's a producer, yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
cool.
Um, so no, so we could just carry on writing, recording, doing the live stuff. I kind of it the music got very jazzy for a while there. I think it was
So,
just like
while you're doing your music, you know how some people try and switch and change their music depending on what like they feel that members of the public like trending and stuff. Was it? Did you go through that period? Because a lot of people say, oh, I want to stay true to what I believe in and all that good stuff. But sometimes what you believe in or what you're staying true to might not be what people kind of, I wouldn't say like, but what people are not used to. So, are you trying to find your sound with different things happening?
I was trying to resist that so much, but it's like there has been points in my career where people have come in and said, why not this? Why
Mm.
not that? This is what's popping right now. My first instinct is always no. And I have got a lot of songs in different genres that I've never released because I was like, I think it's respectful to give people a chance in their ideas when they come into your project. So I always like record some and I write some, I'm open to it, but I just can never bring myself to release it. So
So that means you should have listened to your instinct the first time
yeah.
because you have gone through all that and you don't release it. Okay, so child comes, music takes a backseat to a good point. You're being a mom, but then you say after a year you come back into it. You, from looking at stuff that you've done, you tend to do a lot of things in America.
Yeah.
How did that happen? How did you go from trying to get things done in the UK and then kind of creating a market, I would say, in America, which a lot of people they say it's so difficult because bigger, lots of sharks and all that. How did you transform or get your stuff across to America?
I think what it is like UK and R&B, there isn't enough support for, I would say, for R&B in the UK.
Back then or now
Just
or generally?
always.
Okay.
If you really look at some of the artists that have like really blown, they've always traveled to the US and tried to, I mean, you go to the shops, you go to the bars, you go wherever you go, there's a lot of R&B all the time. Like that's their main thing that's being played. I didn't specifically even target that. I think what happened was this has only happened recently, so way after this my second baby, I was like I came to a point where I
So
was
good you had
like
to do it again. I like it.
no, they're such a blessing, honestly. But it comes to a point where I was like, I'm not playing this game of like hiding who I am, hiding the fact that I've got babies and all this stuff that is expected of you. I'm just gonna do me. So I wrote this song called Proud, and I still haven't released it, but I did like a small like video of it because I was still, even when I was heavily pregnant, I was recording this album to a point where my BVs used to get a bit scared, like, you're going to drop, don't hit that note. But anyway, so we had some of that footage. So I used it for this song called Proud. I just put it on Instagram just as like a way of like, F you to like this whole.
You can swear if you want. But, I mean, so express yourself.
It was, it was literally like, I'm not gonna hide who I am. This is, I own it. This is who I am. This is, yeah, I live like a very like chilled life. I'm not out there every night. I'm not like partying hard and drinking and smoking, whatever. This is the music I write. Don't really give a shit what anyone thinks. And I've reached that point. I put that out, and then it just got picked up by someone just on Instagram in the US who just happened to be like, oh, this is different. And then that's kind of like how I started to just travel there and do videos and do other things. So it's definitely nice when people recognize something that you do, that when you're just being completely authentic. And yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
So would you say, I mean, the UK definitely has opened doors in terms of R&B. I think you have a point when you say it's not possibly as supported as the rest, but it's getting there. And so you shuffle between the UK and the US. Your husband is your producer at this point in time. That is love and music right there. Yeah, you can take that name for the album. I'll take only 5%. And but so it's been, you seem like you've been on a constant hustle and a constant grind in terms of being myself, being a mom, trying to release music. What would you say has been, because you have mentioned songs that you have not released. And when I started this episode, I said you have loads of songs that has been used by different producers, but you can't find them on your page or anything. How did that happen? Are you just writing songs for charity? Like you're just throwing it out there?
Literally write a lot. I don't really watch TV. Like, I literally live in the studio, and but I'm very picky about what I put out there. So I don't know why, but yeah, there is a lot. Some of them I did as like a little remix thing. I didn't think it was going to pick up, and then it really picked up. But I'm just like, my body of work is like, I
Yeah,
don't
but you're not
know.
getting any credit or any money for it because if other people are using it, and clearly if you have released, if this has happened to more than a few songs, it means it's something you keep doing. Why is that?
If I'm going to be really honest,
I hope you have been
I
honest
feel like
throughout.
I don't. Yeah, obviously,
Okay,
but
just
I do.
checking. Just
You
checking.
fact checked enough, so I don't think I can
And
lie.
I try. I try.
I think maybe I don't see value in what I do, um, which is really bad because other people
We're
seem
going
to
back to
see.
this 18-year-old girl again.
Mm.
I mean, you said you were up for it when you had the audition when the guy called in London. You said
No, but I mean monetary value. So like, I'm used to making money in other ways,
she's
but I
rich, ladies
almost
and
don't
gentlemen.
expect
She's
I
rich.
almost don't expect it in music because I think it's just like so many letdowns that you kind of come to a point where you're like,
I mean, I understand not expecting to be. I mean, this is me. I'm just gonna do my thing. And I release it, but you're going through. You work hard with your husband. You release music. You put it out there, but then you just put it out there in a way that the credit, not credit per se, because I know you're not looking for validation at this point, but it'd be good to know you have a catalog of work that you have put out
mm,
there, and somebody goes searches you on Spotify or wherever, and they find out, okay, this is your music because you have a song. I remember, I think when we were doing the rehearsal, you were talking about a song that you had put out, and it's been used by X amount of people, but it's not even on the
I still
your own
haven't
catalog.
released it. I know.
Lord have mercy. This
But
is
this is the thing. Like, I love writing and love being creative, but the whole like having someone to come in and plan this with you and say this is, I just do it for the love of it, which is very silly when it's your career. But I just kind of, I don't know.
well. Since you don't know, I could give you a few pointers. Stop doing it. Let's start with that. Just how about just creating your catalog? I
Genuinely
just
didn't think that many people would be into that. He said especially, but yeah, I mean after the fact it's a bit late, isn't it? Like
so
everything
what's
else.
what's your music centered around now? What do you sing about? What is one of the things I like to understand is what is the message that you want your music to portray? What's your music centered around now?
I would say it's a lot around being authentic and not giving a shit anymore. Because I think I have like spent so many years worrying about what people would think if I say this, what would they think if I look like this? And I've just reached a point where I no longer give a shit. So it's
What was
like,
that point? What was it? What was that pivot moment for you? When did you just go, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna
I
do
actually
this.
don't know. I think it's just something like, it's not like a day and night switch. It's just something that the more you go through experiences, the more like doors close, doors open, people bullshit you, they don't bullshit you. You kind of get to a point where you're like, I'm numb to this now and I'm just going to do me. And I think that's why I'm just really comfortable to say what I want in my lyrics and not think about what
I-
anyone else thinks.
In terms of, have you had run-ins with like record labels? Because obviously shuffling between the UK and going to the US, have you had one of them stories where um you were probably, I don't know, not issues per se, but maybe you walked away or they walked away. Clearly, you have experience in that kind of music industry. What is, now that you're your authentic self, have you had one of them run-ins with different labels? Because people always go how, the world is amazing now. You can do things on your own, and some people still believe, yeah, you can use the record labels. Where do you stand on that? And is that based on experiences?
Yeah, I think you can definitely, like any relationship, if it's the right match, you can definitely do better together. I definitely believe that. Um, but it just has to be the right match. And you can't really say it's the whole label because it's who you come across and whether they believe in you as much as you believe in them. It's a very, very intimate relationship because you're putting a lot of trust in each other. Like they're trusting you with their investment, you're trusting them with a vision. Um, and it's almost like you're not going to be single for the rest of your life because so many people are breaking up or relationships aren't happening. So I still have hope for the right people at the right time. And I think that's really important as well. It's definitely timing. But it's not something that I'm like waiting on because, like you said, you definitely have your own platform now and you can, it's almost like there's no desperation. So everyone's taking their time.
But what would you say is, what's the big no-no in terms of dealing with labels? Because
Being
you've,
keen. Don't ever be too keen. Don't ever go with the first deal.
hmm
Don't ever like not value what you're doing because if they're approaching you, they see value in what you're doing. So you shouldn't ever be or show that you're excited or that you're too into it. You should definitely keep your options open, I
but
think.
that's not being your authentic self, though. If you're somebody that's keen and happy and wants to get everything, and then you have to play it down because you're worried that,
Yeah, it's a bit like I don't know. It's like any other business, right? It is a business. It's a job. It's no one's coming to save you. It's definitely just a job. So you got to make sure it's the right job for you. I think for me, like music is not a lifestyle, it's not a dream, it's not anything like that. It's just a job that I feel like I'm good at, I have a purpose for. And
considering the fact that you're giving people free music, that's not a job. That is definitely a lifestyle.
is yeah, I don't know. I don't really live that lifestyle. I don't really live that
So it
musician
so it,
lifestyle
it could be a lifestyle, but to
thing.
you, what you're trying to say is you can treat it as a job and not be too keen and all that, and then maybe you get to a point where it's a lifestyle. I mean, going back though, so are you saying your message from your music is to people to just be your authentic self, speak about um, things that are happening, and then hopefully learn and move forward? Is that what the message is? You
100%.
need to pay me, man. I just phrased that really well.
Yeah, chat GPT, didn't you?
No, man, no, man. I grew up in a time there was no Google. You need to understand. I'm way ahead of those guys. So one of the things I like to understand, especially when it comes to people and their music, and you now, your mom, you said you make money in different ways. So are you at that point where, and this is a phrase I don't really like because when people say it is what it is, I hate that phrase 100% because I think it's a cop out. I mean, it only is what it is if there's nothing you can do about it.
Hmm.
But you're in a position where you seem like you have good support, hobbies, producer, mom, as I said, you say your parents and family have always supported you. You're releasing music. So is this one of those, whatever, I don't know, what is the vision right now?
No, no, it's definitely not. It's not a hobby. It's not a chill time. I work out till about 11 o'clock at night. I'm up with the babies till about 3, 4 in the morning, in the studio every second I get. I work full time, but literally all of it is like branding, the next song, what we're doing for the promo, what we're doing. It's like literally live and breathe it. The plan is to make as much of an impact as I think I deserve to make. And what I'm going to do, like my why is so strong that the how and the people and the noise, none of that kind of gets to me in any way. I think when you know your why, everything else is just like background noise. You're just so focused in what you're doing.
So what exactly in a few sentences, what is your way?
That's a bit deep.
I know. What do you think? What kind of podcast do you think this is? Well, of course, we go deep.
Okay, so my biggest why is to normalize mental health. I think that I hate the fact that if someone has a broken leg, you kind of get empathy straight off the bat. But if you're struggling with something internally, whether it's for men, women, whatever, um, people feel like they just have to be like, I've got a headache today. I'm a bit down. I'm going to stay home. There's literally no. I just want to normalize the fact that we all go through different struggles at different times. Um, for me, I need a big enough platform to do that. So that's my biggest purpose individually. But obviously, having babies, they're like such a strong why for me. I want to give them a life that they don't have to hustle, but give them the ability to hustle if they ever need to or if they want to.
So when you say, oh, you want to give them a life where they don't hustle, doesn't that make them weak?
No.
Like, if you have everything laid out for
I
you,
think your character is what makes you strong. And the biggest goal is to bring up your kids so that they don't need you and they can survive without you and they can have a really strong character. But they don't need to go through the Finsbury Park hustle to get there. There's so many ways of getting there, to open their eyes, to make them empathetic to people, um, to make them human, good humans, to make them responsible, especially them being men. There's so many ways of instilling these things in your children without them thinking where's the next whatever coming from, which is not their life now, but I'd love that life for them to be from watching me do what I love to do. And I think that's inspirational, hopefully, for them, that there's no. And my other biggest kind of thing was, yeah, have you ever watched X Factor when people that over 40s always come and they go, what happened? You sound amazing. And they go, I had kids. I never ever want my kids to feel like they were the reason I didn't make it. Because I think it might not bother them now, but when I'm like 75 or whatever, it will bother them that they were the reasons that I never got to fulfill my purpose. And I think it's really lazy of me to say, they came along, so therefore I didn't make it. I think you just push harder, like, right, and just never make them feel like they were a burden on you. And I don't know, I know people don't mean it that way, but for me, if I was someone's child and they were about to, like, someone said to them like, oh, you're amazing, how come you didn't fulfill your dreams, and they were like, I had kids, I had to stay home, I think that would make me feel really shit as a child. So I never ever want that on my children. So I'm going to say I made it for them, because of them, rather than I didn't make it because I had them, because I just think that's, I don't know, that's not a nice feeling.
I like it. I like it. That's good, man. I don't have like a button I can press for a round of applause, but that was actually good.
Same.
I mean, my last question on normalization of mental health is because I'm a big believer of you need to work on the way you grow up and the way situation and life throws at you builds your resilience. If you work on your resilience, it builds your capacity. You work on your capacity, you have a stronger mental health. However, obviously we all go through stuff that we need help. So when you say normal out, and everybody talks about, everybody goes through different situations. So my mental health, I don't know, gauge will be very different from your mental health gauge. But when you say normalize it, are you talking about normalizing in the sense of we can all talk about it and look for a solution, or normalize it in the sense of, oh, it's okay for you to feel
No,
however you're feeling?
normalize it as in be able to have empathy for people when they're going through things. And so what it is like, say now I'm in corporate and I run sessions where everybody comes in and everybody pretends that they've got their shit together. They wear corporate clothes and they walk around saying the right things at the right time. Really, a lot of them, including all of us, struggle with so much stuff, right? They could be going through anxiety, they could be going through depression, they could be going through so many different things. And it's like, why do you have to show up and pretend and feel like you have to
What
pretend
do you want them to do? Tell
that
them to
everything's
start
okay.
crying. Oh my god,
No,
that's
but you can
terrible.
definitely have like open conversations. You can definitely have forums for that kind of stuff. I wrote a song called To the Men, for example, and it was all around the pressures that I feel like men go through. You would be so shocked to see some of these comments on people arguing with each other on TikTok on like men would never do this for women and this and that. And I'm like, you can have so much empathy for somebody else if you kind of understand that they struggle. Just because you struggle or you feel like you struggle more, it doesn't devalue their struggle that day. And I think that's really, really important. And it's something that I don't feel like we have as much. I feel like the conversations that we're having around couples, around men and women, around all this stuff is a lot like what you're bringing to the table, what you're doing for me.
That table is large.
Is a big table.
From
And
what I
I
hear.
just feel like, that's not cohesive. That's not how you build families. Therefore, that's not how you build society. Therefore, everything's going to shit all the time because you just kind of like want value from people, but you're not emphasizing what value you're going to bring to them. How are you going to take care of them? How are you going to look after them? I don't want to know how many figures a guy makes. It makes zero difference to me. My hustle is my hustle and yours is yours. But at the end of the day, we come together. It has to be a cohesive thing. It's not. It's really not at the moment. And for me, it's like, yeah, it's not my vibe. It's not how you raise family.
I like it. Very well said, Eva.
Thank
Very
you.
well said. Very well said. So, going through your catalog, the ones we can find, and under your name, and listening to your music. One of the obviously you'll be performing at the show in August 28th. Buy tickets, people. Bring a friend at 300, and come and see Ava tell that story and perform some of her music. Now, what we do in Korak is sometimes we like to deep dive into some of the songs. Now, Imagery, which is one of the songs that it's on your YouTube and anywhere you can find. Now, I like Imagery because it's one of them situations. If you mute it and you just watch the video, you think here we go, another R&B song, but there's a deepness to that song,
Hmm.
and it comes from a place that I'll let you talk about it. What was the story behind Imagery, and what exactly were you saying?
Imagery is about, I'm glad you realize there's a deeper,
I'm a
deeper
deep
meaning
guy
to
sometimes. Sometimes.
So, imagery is about the struggle of the guy. It's got nothing to do with the the way the lyrics sound. It's more about the struggle that he's going through. Because if you realize this on the second verse, where I'm like, look back, I could see him fighting, making love, but there's war inside him. It's all just about like the struggle that he's going through and the fact that it's imagery, but it's not me. So it's a guy who has cheated or has had other relationships, and he's having that struggle of like bonding with the person that they're with in that moment. And it's like me acknowledging that I can see the struggle in your eye, even though like I don't know, the song just sounds like it's like a generic R&B sexy song, but it's actually meant to be like kind of highlighting the fact that I can feel that in that moment, in that bond. I can feel the fact that you're struggling with that and I'm here for you. So it's actually got nothing to do with what people think it has.
You based on that explanation, and so first of all, obviously, husband, you have two boys, two kids. You talk about how your dad was amazing piano, power couple with your mom, and you've also mentioned in terms of the vibe of it's not about the zeros in his bank accounts. Where does this trying to portray the message from the man's side come from? Because a lot of people, which is, I don't think, depending on what the situation is, a lot of people, them first, then I'm a woman, I'm a this, something that I'm not a fan of is all this gender daft wars on what do you bring to the table. You're a man, so you should do this. But you seem like you want to be that support hub for what sounds like any man that you call family friend, even me now, hopefully. Yeah. Yay. So where does that come from? Why do you think the push for men to, or at least men in your life, to be seen and heard?
So I didn't date um basically until uni, and I had a lot of male friends, and I think where I wasn't dating, I was definitely building deep friendships, and I was like having these really serious conversations with guys who weren't trying anything. They were just literally bonding with me as a human being. And I think so I built a lot of empathy for what I could see that they go through. And especially around the areas that I was brought up in, like they were very much like, you're weak if you have emotions, like you don't talk about your struggles. Um, a lot of them were like trying to have jobs so they could pay for their mums or they could pay for this. And there's just a lot of ungratefulness around some of these struggles that they went through. And like, if they really saved up for something, the girl will be like, really, is that it? You know, and that kind of like
Terrible.
being on that side and just seeing those struggles. Don't get me wrong, women go through a lot, and I've got songs about that too. But it was just, I've built a lot of empathy around that. And yeah, I think it's just having that perspective as a complete friend and like nothing else.
When you think about it, and you saying you didn't date till you were in uni, your hobby is the only guy you've dated.
I mean, if you want to do the maths, but that's not the point. So the
No,
point
no,
was,
no, no, no. I'm asking the questions. Don't no, no, man. You can change the name of the show after this episode. But so you've been with one guy. Yeah, this is really Disney stuff. I like it. I
thank
like
you.
it. Loving you. Oh, sorry, I'm excited. I
That
want
was
to
a
meet
good
him
night.
now. I want to.
You will meet
I will.
He'll
Okay, nice.
come to the
I
show.
don't know. I don't know how he has done it with you for years, but we'd like to give
Let's
him all
go
the,
for this ship.
yeah, credit. But it's good. It's always good that when you sit down in a conversation and you can see both perspectives, understand it, and put light on both sides. So, on behalf of all the women and men, we'd like to thank you for seeing it both sides and at least putting it in your song. Do you find it annoying where, because as I said to you, imagery, people listen to it and just think, oh, here we go, another love song. But the deepness, do you find that you have to tone down your message so that more people understand it? Or you're just happy with those that will see it, that will see it, that if you get the meaning, you get the meaning. If you don't, tough luck.
I feel like if I just write it straight up as like a motivational thing, it won't go to the people that I want to hear it. I want to reach people that don't have that mindset already, and those people don't search for Vogue songs on Spotify. That's the reason. Like there's like a barrier there, and I really hope that when people listen to it, like there's a song called Skin that I wrote about how I was feeling so overweight. I put on 25 kilos after the first baby, and I was like so down about it. I didn't recognize myself. I didn't want anyone to look at me, come near me. It was all done. And I wrote that, I wrote Skin, but all of the people who had reviewed the song on all these sites, etc., was like, oh yeah, it's a sexy R&B song. And I was like, did you really listen to what I said? So like a lot of the lyrics was around how I don't recognize myself. I'm not, you know, but anyway, it was all they heard was Skin and everything else that I was saying. And it was like, yeah. So, but I do like to kind of like reach the people that would listen to normal, like sexy R&B and just hopefully leave them with a little bit more.
What would you change in the music industry right now? What do you think needs to be changed?
I don't know if I would change anything because I feel like creative spaces should just be what they are. They should just be authentic. They're not going to be my expectations of it. And who you attract around you in that circle when you're being creative is what makes your industry. And I think me complaining about it and it's not great because it's what I've attracted. Do you see what I mean? It's a very small circle.
So if you attract something that you don't like, what you're just saying, just change it and try and.
Change yourself. If you're attracting something you don't like,
Hmm.
it's a reflection of you.
What if you attract something that is wonderful, but then you still don't like it? Is that a problem? Is that a mindset situation?
Depends on why you don't like it. That would be quite weird.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason I ask that is some people they put out the music, it's amazing, then it comes with fame and all that stuff. And I'm not talking about like Beyonce. I'm talking like meet for, and they're like, I don't like this, but it comes as part of the package of what you're delivering. So what then happens? Do you need to work on yourself more, or is this a case of just change?
I feel like everything is partly a blessing and a curse. So you take it as a package. You can't be like, I just want the blessings. Like it definitely comes as a whole. And you've got to make sure you can handle it. You've got to make sure you can handle the negatives. And I think that's something I always say to people in relationships as well. Again, it's like any other relationship. Don't pick someone because of their good parts. Pick someone that you can handle the bits that you don't like about them. Pick them on their flaws. Be like, these are the flaws, because everyone has them. These are the flaws that I can cope with. These are the ones that I want to see every day. If I have to see any flaws, these are the ones I can deal with. Don't pick it on the highs. Don't pick it on like the one-off payment they give you at the beginning, or like the few like flights that they book for you, or a few drinks and popping bottles for you and all that. That's not the bit that's gonna, that's not the bit that's gonna last. You don't have to cope with that. That's already there. You got to pick the bits of the industry. You got to understand that if you're in this industry, you've got to deal with the bullshit very often.
That right there is the title. If you're in this industry, you need to deal with this bullshit. That's going to be the title of the YouTube stuff.
Seriously?
Yeah, then okay. I'll put your face still because I don't want anybody coming after me. It'll just be you that's there.
It's part of the package.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Aiva will be performing at a live music event August 28th. Please get your tickets, come and see and enjoy the story. And let's make live music great again. Woo! Closing tradition that I started in the last episode, but it's a closing tradition now. I'm creating a Korak playlist. So with every guest on here, will tell us the one song that they think should be on the playlist and why. It could be your song, it could be anybody's song, but throw it on the playlist.
Well, you didn't tell me this beforehand.
You need to do your research well, man. I'm sorry. Just, I don't know. Pick out the song. It could be Baby Shark, Shark, Shark. I don't care. Just pick as long as it makes the playlist and tell us why.
I would pick Skin. Can I pick my own song?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll pick Skin because I feel like it's full circle.
That's it
for me.
Full circle. That's it. This is just about you right now. Okay, cool. I mean, you've gone on my whys, my this, my that, and then it's full circle for me. That's it.
100%.
Okay, cool. That's all good. Skin is on the playlist, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
All good. Thank you for coming. We, as always in Korak, it's following footsteps and making sure that, well, not making sure, but at least contributing as much as we can. That when you get there, I was talking to Adam and the boys that my dream is that you win that Grammy, invite me for the after party so I can grind on Rihanna. That is all I want for now. There you go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, round of applause, all that good stuff for Aiva Sarah. Even if there's nobody here, I'm like, all right, people, watch, subscribe, do all that good good stuff.
Good.
Yes, I'm getting excited by, I don't know, the potential of live music. And you supporting men, so I'll ask you for like a 5 or 10 after this.
100%. I got you.
I got you. You heard that, people. I'm MC Sabi Boy. More things.